It seems like every day you get that little ping on your phone or an email pops up that just doesn't seem quite right.
Yeah, you really do have to be careful these days.
It's like with so much happening online, it feels like everybody needs to be more and more careful, especially when it comes to people who are trying to take advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
So today we're taking a deep dive into something really important,
Hmm.
and that's protecting ourselves from those cyber scams.
Right.
We've actually been looking through a bunch of materials from this Protect Seniors from Cyber Scams presentation.
Oh, excellent.
There's actually a really handy quick reference guide and a briefing document too,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
all to try to, bring you the most important things to know about all this.
That's fantastic. I think that's so important because you might not have the time to go to a presentation like that.
Right.
Or maybe you just need the key information laid out clearly and in a way that's easy to understand. So hopefully that's what we can do today is just sift through all of that and highlight those vital steps that people can take to
Exactly.
stay safe online.
Okay, so let's jump right into it.
Okay.
I think when you start to look at the sheer scale of these scams, it's actually pretty shocking.
It is. It's really eye-opening.
In 2023 alone, just in the US, folks over 60 reported losing, get this, a total of $3.4 billion
Wow.
to cyber scams.
That's a huge number.
It's just a massive number, and it's not even just seniors, right? People between 50 and 59 also lost $1.68 billion.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a significant amount of money, too.
So those numbers, I think, really paint a picture of just how widespread and, sadly, how effective these scams can be.
They really do. And I think when we look at why these tactics actually work, it often comes down to, well, our emotions. We have that instinct to help loved ones or that desire for connection.
Yeah.
And scammers are really good at creating that sense of urgency that might make us bypass that usual careful thinking.
Right, yeah.
And they're constantly adapting,
Mm.
which is why I think it's so important that we're having these discussions and staying informed.
Right. And the materials that we looked at actually highlight some of the most common scams that are really targeting seniors.
Right.
One of them is the grandparent scam, which I think really stood out.
Oh, yes.
Could you maybe walk us through how that typically unfolds?
Yeah. So typically the grandparent scam starts with some kind of message that you're not expecting.
Right.
It could be a text, an email, even a phone call.
Okay.
And the person who's contacting you is claiming to be your grandchild or another relative who's in trouble.
Right.
They might say they've been in an accident or they've been arrested or that they suddenly need money for something.
Right.
And the key to the success of this scam is that they create this strong emotional pull and that demand for quick action.
Right.
And then they often ask for payment in a way that's really difficult to trace, like gift cards or wire transfers.
Oh, I see.
So it's really tough. It's awful to think about someone being targeted in that way, especially when your natural reaction is to just help your family out.
It is, yeah, it is. And it makes sense when these urgent messages pop up. It's like, what is the most important thing to do? I think this goes back to that stop, think, act principle.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And the crucial action there is to resist that immediate urge to just send money.
Right.
Instead, stop, take a breath, think, does this sound like my grandchild? Is this how they normally contact me? Actually independently verifying the story. You can reach out to your grandchild directly
Right.
using their phone number that you already have,
Yeah.
or contact another family member
Okay.
to see if they know what's going on. Because scammers really rely on people not taking that step to double check.
Right. Another one that we saw that seemed really prevalent was the romance scam.
Oh, yes.
This one really plays on our desire for companionship.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
So in a romance scam, the scammer is going to create a fake profile online, maybe on a dating site or social media,
Okay.
and they're going to spend a lot of time building this emotional relationship with their target, sharing personal details and expressing feelings, all without ever actually meeting the person in real life.
Right.
And once they feel that they've gained that person's trust, that's when they'll start asking for money,
Right.
maybe for some kind of emergency or help with travel costs so they can finally meet or some other made-up reason.
Right. It seems like such a obvious red flag.
Yeah.
If someone you've never met is asking for money.
Right.
But I can also imagine if you feel like you have this connection with somebody, those warning signs are just, it's harder to see them.
Exactly. Exactly. It can be really hard to see those red flags when you're caught up in the emotions of it.
So what would be the clearest action to take?
The firmest rule to keep in mind is never, ever send money to someone that you've only met online. You've never met them face to face.
Right.
It doesn't matter how convincing their story is or how strong your feelings might be for them.
Right.
That's just a boundary you should never cross.
Yeah. Now, we also came across something called the accidental deposit scam.
Right.
So how does that one work?
So usually what happens is someone's going to claim they accidentally sent you money through like a payment app,
Right.
like Venmo or Zelle.
Okay.
And then they'll contact you, sometimes sounding really flustered, asking you to send the money back to them.
Oh, okay.
But, that initial deposit might be from a stolen account,
Right.
or it could even be completely made up.
Okay.
So if you send the money back, you're actually sending your real money to the scammer.
Right.
And what's important to know about some of these payment apps is that the transactions can be irreversible.
Oh, wow.
So you have to be really careful.
Yeah. So I guess if you see that unexpected deposit
Right.
and you get that message, I guess the key is just to not rush into sending anything back.
Yeah, exactly.
So what should people do?
The best thing to do is to leave that money alone. Don't touch it.
Okay.
And then contact the customer service of whatever payment app it was
Right.
directly.
Okay.
They can help you figure out if it's real and, the correct way to deal with it.
Right.
And you want to be suspicious if they pressure you to return it quickly or if they start asking for any of your personal financial information.
Okay. Let's move on to the tech support scam. I think many of us have probably encountered this at some point,
Probably.
whether it's a call saying your computer has a virus or one of those pop-up windows on your screen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So in a tech support scam, you might get a call from someone who says that they work for a well-known tech company
Right.
like Microsoft or Apple.
Right.
And they're going to tell you that your computer has a serious problem.
Right.
They might try to get you to click on links or download some software,
Right.
but that software is probably malware
Okay.
or harmful software. Or they might even try to get you to give them remote access to your computer.
Right.
So that means they can actually control it from wherever they are.
Wow.
Or you might get a pop-up window
Right. Yeah.
on your screen
Right.
that tells you, oh, you have a virus.
Okay.
And then it tells you to call a specific number.
Right. And it seems like giving someone remote access or clicking on those links can have like some really serious consequences.
It can. It really can. It could lead to them installing really harmful software on your computer or stealing your personal information like your passwords or bank details. Or they might even demand that you pay them
Right.
for services that they didn't actually do.
Right.
So it's really important to remember to never, ever click on links or download programs from any unsolicited calls or pop-ups. If you're really worried about your computer, the best thing to do is to contact like a local computer repair service.
Right.
Someone that you know, someone that you can trust, and you can actually go to their shop.
Right. Okay. Then the last one we have is the delivery scam.
Right.
And this one seems to be, I don't know, it just feels like it's become so common with all the, online shopping we do these days.
It has. It has.
Yeah.
I think we've all gotten those texts or emails.
Yeah.
So usually what happens with the delivery scam is you're going to get a text or email that says there's a problem with a package
Okay.
that you're supposed to be getting.
Right.
And then almost always the message includes a link
Right.
that's supposed to help you track the package
Yeah.
or fix the issue.
Okay.
But usually that link just leads you to a fake website
Oh, wow.
that's made to steal your login information or your credit card details or install malware on your phone or computer.
Right. So I guess if you get one of those messages, what's like the safest way to check on it?
So the safest way is to go directly to the official website or app of the delivery company yourself.
Right.
UPS or FedEx or the Postal Service, and you can type in your tracking number there.
Okay.
Never click on any links in those messages.
Right.
If there really is an issue with the delivery, you'll find information about it on their official website.
Gotcha. So these are all such important things to be aware of. And the materials we looked at really emphasize this stop, think, ACT framework as this general rule to stay safe online.
It's a really good framework.
Could we maybe break down each of those steps a little more clearly?
Yeah, definitely. So the first step, S.OP, is all about pausing before you do anything when you get an unexpected message or request.
Okay.
Because scammers often try to create that sense of urgency so that you don't stop and think.
Right.
So first you S.stop, then you think. Ask yourself some questions.
Okay.
Were you expecting this? Does this request even make sense?
Right.
Does it feel right? Legitimate requests are rarely super urgent like that.
Right.
And then the final step is
Okay.
that's about taking safe steps to verify the situation through an official channel before you click on any links, share personal information, or send money.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself that moment to actually think about it before you react.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so Beyond just recognizing the scams, the information also covered how to protect our digital lives in general.
Right.
And password security was a big part of that.
It is, yes.
This is something we probably could all use a reminder about.
For sure. And using strong and unique passwords for all of your online accounts
Hmm.
is probably one of the most important things that you can do
Right.
to protect yourself. Because if a scammer gets hold of one of your passwords and you're using the same one everywhere, then they could get into everything. That's
Right.
kind of like having one key that opens every single door in your house.
Right. So can you say a little bit more about why having different passwords for each site is so crucial?
Yeah. So imagine someone gets your password for, let's say, your social media account.
Right.
If you use that same password for, let's say, your online banking or your email,
Oh, right.
then they could potentially get into those accounts too,
Right. Yeah.
which is much more sensitive information.
Right.
So if you have separate passwords, even if one is compromised, the others are still safe.
Right.
This can also help protect you against something called password spraying,
Okay.
which is where criminals will try using lists of commonly stolen passwords
Oh, wow.
on lots of different websites.
Okay.
So if you have a unique password, it's much harder for them to get in that way.
So then what would be the definition of a strong password? Like what makes it strong?
So a strong password usually combines uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters,
Okay.
like exclamation points or at symbols and question marks.
Right.
And the longer and more complex the password is, the harder it is for people to just guess it. Right.
Or for computer programs to crack the code.
Right. And the quick reference guide actually had this really clever tip
It did.
for creating those strong passwords using like a meaningful phrase.
Yes.
Could you explain that?
Yes, definitely. So this is a great way to, instead of trying to memorize all these random characters,
All right.
you start with a sentence or a phrase that's easy for you to remember.
Okay.
So for instance, like my favorite color is blue and I have 2 cats.
Right.
And then you can turn that into a password by using the first letter of each word
Right.
and then incorporating numbers and symbols.
Right.
So that example would become MFE by ITC.
Right.
It's complex, it's secure, but it's something that you can actually remember.
Yeah, that's such a useful tip. So when it comes to email and message safety, I know we talked a lot about not clicking on links.
Right.
What else should we keep in mind there? In addition to not clicking on those links, always type the website address directly into your browser instead of clicking on a link in an email or a text.
Okay.
Also, make sure to use those spam or junk buttons
Right.
in your email to report any unwanted or suspicious messages.
Okay.
And this is really important. Even if the message looks like it's from a legitimate company or person, if it feels suspicious, don't reply to it.
Okay.
Don't even reply to say stop or unsubscribe, because sometimes that just confirms to the scammer that your email or phone number is active.
Oh, I see.
So it's best to just ignore it completely.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it also helps to hear some of those real world examples that were in the presentation to make it feel a little more real. You know? So like there was that one about the grandparent scam involving the gift cards.
Yeah, Corey Limmer shared that story about a friend
Right.
who was pressured to buy gift cards really quickly
Right.
to help their supposed grandchild.
Right.
That was in trouble. So that's a great example of how scammers really exploit that emotional urgency
Right.
and why they ask for payment in gift cards, because it's hard to trace.
And I think the romance scam that targeted Corey Limmer's mother-in-law was pretty eye-opening too.
It was, yeah. It really showed how these scammers can spend weeks or even months building this fake relationship online before they ever even ask for money.
Wow.
So it's a good reminder that rule, never send money to anyone that you haven't met in person,
Yeah.
is a good one to stick to, no matter how convincing they seem.
Right. And the dangers of the tech support scams were also emphasized with those alarming calls or pop-up windows.
Right, and those examples really show just how risky it is to click on links or download software from unknown sources,
Yeah.
because it can really open the door to serious security problems.
And the delivery tech scams, those are just, I don't know, pervasive now.
They are. And I think the key takeaway there was to always verify any delivery information directly through the official website or app of the delivery company,
Right.
and never by clicking on a link in one of those suspicious messages.
Right. You know, one story that really stuck with me was Corey Limer's experience with that fake paid consultation email.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was so interesting how he used a tool like ChatGPT to actually analyze the email,
It is, yeah, that's being proactive.
which I thought was really smart. What were some of the things that made him realize it was a scam?
Yeah, so the email actually offered a really unusually high rate of pay for very little work, which should always be a red flag.
All right.
If it seemed too good to be true, it probably is.
Right.
Also, the email address itself was really generic and didn't match the supposed company.
Okay.
And there was also that sense of urgency again,
Right.
pressuring him to respond quickly.
Okay.
Even though it mentioned a legitimate platform, the details just didn't add up.
Right. And David Newblack, actually shared that story about his wife getting, that fake request to change her direct deposit.
Yes.
And that seemed like, wow, that could have some serious consequences.
It could have.
Yeah.
So the scammers pretended to be his wife, emailing her company
Right.
to redirect her paycheck to a different bank account.
Wow.
But thankfully, she had two-factor authentication enabled,
Oh, okay.
which meant that even if they had gotten hold of her password,
Mm.
they couldn't actually make the change without also having an unexpected code. She knew something was wrong,
Oh, wow.
and she was able to stop it.
Mhm.
So it's a good example of how helpful two-factor authentication can be.
Yeah. Those real-world examples really do bring it all home.
They do. They really emphasize the importance of staying alert.
Yeah. So what should people do if they think they've actually been targeted?
Right.
Like, what are the steps?
So if you think you've been a victim of a cyber scam, the first thing to do is contact your bank or credit union right away.
Okay.
Just let them know what happened, because they might be able to freeze your accounts
Yeah.
or take other steps to protect your money.
Okay.
And then secondly, you want to change your passwords on any accounts that might have been compromised.
Right.
So that's your email, your online banking, any other important accounts that you have.
Okay.
It's also really important to report the scam to the police
Okay.
and to file a report with the Federal Trade Commission
Right.
at reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Okay.
And this really helps track these scams and potentially prevent other people from becoming victims as well.
Okay. So that's a really clear set of steps that people can take.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally, the presentation emphasized trusting your instincts.
Oh, yes.
Could you maybe talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I think over the years, we developed this sense of when something just feels right or feels wrong.
Yeah.
If you receive a message or request online and it makes you feel uneasy or suspicious or it just doesn't seem right, pay attention to that.
Okay.
Don't dismiss it just because it's online.
Right.
And if you're ever unsure, it's always best to talk to someone you trust.
Right.
A family member, a friend, a trusted advisor.
Right.
There's no shame in asking for a second opinion.
Right. That's such good advice. And so as we wrap up this deep dive, I really wanted to focus on the online safety tips for seniors. Quick reference guide.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Because it's like
Yeah.
it brings together everything we've talked about
It is, yeah.
into these really easy to remember points.
It really stresses that core message. Stop think ACT as
Yep.
your first line of defense whenever you encounter something unexpected online.
Right?
And it clearly lists those common scams that we talked about. The grandparent scam, the romance scam, tech support scams, and delivery scams.
Right.
And then for each one, it gives you a specific action to take. So for the grandparent scam, it's to verify, contact your family directly.
Right.
For romance scams, it's never send money to someone you haven't met in person.
Okay.
For tech support scams, it's don't click on links or download anything and contact a local tech service if you're really concerned.
Right.
And for delivery scams, always check directly with the delivery company through their website or app.
Right. And it also reminds us about strong, unique passwords, and it highlights that really great tip about creating them from those meaningful phrases.
It does, yeah.
And it reinforces those email and message safety rules.
Yeah.
Avoid clicking links in unexpected messages. Type those website addresses in yourself. Use the spam or junk buttons and don't reply to suspicious messages.
Right. And it reminds you what to do if you think you've been scammed. Contact your bank, change your passwords, and report the fraud.
Right, exactly. And I really appreciated that it ends on this really encouraging note,
Me too.
reminding us that you're not alone in navigating the online world and that it's always okay to ask for help
Exactly.
with technology.
There are a lot of great resources out there.
Right.
It even points to a couple of specific ones like Golden Tech Tips
Oh, yeah.
and Aspire Wellness.
Right.
Suggests checking out their websites and YouTube channels.
Right.
And even if you'd like to get help in person, you can reach out to local senior centers or libraries.
Yeah, which is a great idea.
Definitely.
And like it says, your lifetime of experience gives you valuable instincts
Exactly.
that can really help you here.
And learning to navigate the online world is a process.
Right.
And there's so many resources available.
Right.
to support you.
As our final thought for today, the internet, it offers so many wonderful ways to connect, to learn, to manage our lives.
It does.
And by staying informed, by using some of these strategies and trusting our own judgment, we can all enjoy the benefits of the online world
Absolutely.
safely and with confidence, no matter how much the digital landscape might change
Exactly.
going forward.
It's always evolving.
I want to thank Aspire Wellness for inviting me to speak at the Protect Seniors from Cybercrimes event in Zielenopel. It was great seeing so many of you out there asking insightful questions and eager to learn how to stay safe online. If you missed anything or want to learn more, check out Aspire Wellness or the resource sheets by clicking the links below. While you're at it, there are more videos from our event on this channel. Thanks again for coming out, and remember, if something online seems fishy, it probably is. Stay safe out there, and don't forget to subscribe for more security tips to keep your digital life secure.